Here's the new project. These things are supposed to be pretty incredible, but me and my brother are going in on this one. Take a look at the twin cylinder rotary engine, I guess. 670. It's supposed to be pretty fast, supposed to be really good engines. Obviously it doesn't run, but basically just doesn't run from sitting. So really hard to pull, but the engine is free. So it should be a good project. Wow. He's the counterweight right now. Good. You got a couple inches. Well, what do you think? Pretty cool machine, and a interesting or maybe dangerous way that my brother decided to load this thing by sitting on it, acting as a counterweight, as the guy with his forklift machine loaded this onto my trailer. Anyway, we got it here. We're back. It rode fine on the road. We were a little worried about it. I've never had a snowmobile. I've never ridden a snowmobile before. My brother and I found this on Marketplace and decided to go 50-50 with it. So I'm $250 in. So it doesn't run, but these are really nice. So this is a Skidoo Formula SS. It's a 670cc Rotax engine. And all the reviews I see on it are phenomenal. Let me get you in for a closer look here. So first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna take these spark plugs off, which I already got loose the other day. And we're going to put some WD-40 down here. Some long threads on this thing, and this engine turns over, but like you saw in the opening video, it's really hard to pull. Now it's a lot better with the plugs out, so I just don't think there's much for lubrication in here, but we'll get that sorted out. So looking around in here, we do have a nice little tool kit here. This is 98 Mach Z 800. That's from a different machine, I guess. But in here we have some things for the spark plugs, screwdriver, extra pull cord, some other things. Alright, so let's get these plugs off and let's pull on the pull cord a bit. It's really hard to pull even with no plugs in, so we got to figure out that, because that's going to be almost impossible to start. Let's start with a little WD-40. See if this will help lubricate the top end a bit. It's a little easier, but I probably should let that sit in there for a bit. So another thing we could do is check for spark. That wouldn't be too hard, but I do want to let a couple squirts of WD-40 sit in there for a bit. But the other thing we are definitely going to need to do is get into these carburetors. So it's got two carbs, and they look relatively accessible. This is a whole air box here. It's the air filter. And I imagine we're gonna need to remove that to get to the carbs. So let's see if we can start working on that. From what I can tell, there's only one bolt right here holding this on, and I can use this little tool that came with it to get that bolt loose. Look at that. It'll take a little fumbling here, but eventually I'll get it. Okay, I think I have this air intake loose now. It's actually 2 bolts. Not bad though. Look at that unit. That's where the 2 carbs go. The carbs are loose too, because kind of had to get those loose. Well, not all the way loose. They're off the intake. Let me see if I can get those removed and out. Got a lot more room in here now. Here's what you're missing. 2 carbs, 2 boots that go in the intake. All this space without that air box in there. You can see the oil level and the oil tank is coolant. Pardon my sniffles as I'm leaning over here in the cold. Yeah, this thing, you know, it looks kind of rough, like it was stored outside, but it really wasn't. It was stored in a shipping container, and the seller said they had it in that container for probably 10 years, and it was, you know, they get a lot of moisture, and he said that they noticed that and they tried to leave the door open to the shipping container as much as possible. But yeah, that's why you have kind of the surface the way you do. But yeah, this thing just, you know, it just doesn't run from sitting. That's basically it. So I'm hoping it's a pretty simple diagnosis here, and then clean up, and then hopefully she runs. Just trying to cut these fuel lines here. Figured, there we go, that they're so petrified, I'm not going to reuse them. Basically have the carbs free. I just have to take these caps off where the, I don't know what you call it, like plunger is. Pardon me for not knowing all the names of this stuff. Anyway, we'll get those off, and we're just about ready to pull these carbs out. This is the primer line. Ooh, a little primer. Wonder if I can get that off. Could probably just cut that. Here is the left carb. Okay, here they are. You can tell there's dust coming out of them already. A lot of these lines are just for like either venting or to prevent it, or you know, to have it overflow and go out these tubes instead of going into the engine or anything like that. So it kind of looks like a octopus, but it's not that bad. That should be your idle control, again your main fuel line, and then the part we just cut, that's your primer right there. So I'll have to, you know, I want to replace all of these too. These are just rock solid hard, so all this has to get replaced. And it says Mikuni Kogyo. Kogyo? Pretty cool stuff. Oh, and I just noticed another adjustment here on the other side. So yeah, not sure what that is, but like probably fuel mixture screws. That's my guess. Kind of nice that they're on the side, because a lot of my carbs for quads are on the bottom here, and you have to take the carb off to get to the screw. So maybe you can get to those while the carb is on. Check this out. Ooh, look how crusted this is. Good thing is, well, you're never going to be able to see it, but the good thing is there's just a tiny bit of fuel at the bottom of that tank. So, you know, I think we'll be able to add some fresh fuel and be decent. But yeah, we got to get this all sorted out before we stick that back in there. That's a mess. Yeah, we'll have to wire wheel that, and hopefully it bounces back. Now the key just broke in the ignition. So, I mean, I can still turn it. So I think we're on, I guess. I mean, there's no electric start, right? It's just going to be pull start. So I think we just need the key to go on. All right, we're going to leave that key on, and I got the spark plugs back in the boots. I'm going to try to give you a zoomed in view, and we'll see if this thing has spark. I feel like I can hear it. All right, so yeah, definitely has spark. That second view you can see a little better here. I'll have to go back and watch it myself to see if we have any spark on this spark plug, but I could hear it, so to me it sounds like it's sparking pretty hard. It never comes across great on film, just something to do with like the resolution or something. You like only see half the amount of sparking. But I think what we'll do is put those spark plugs back in, and we'll give it a little squirt of starting fluid, and we'll see if we can get this thing to pop off a bit. I didn't expect that. First pull. Let's try that again. I just gave it another shot. Ooh, it's so hard. This thing's gonna run. Okay, looks like I have enough fuel line here to do all of these either vents or overflows, you know, which isn't much of an accomplishment, but just to get that done, I should be able to easily do that. The main fuel line, I'll have to see if, like, I don't have anything that's like this for this fuel line, but I wonder if that's the same size as like standard lawn tractor fuel line. Besides all that, we got to crack into these and see what condition everything is like inside the bowl here. Probably a bit premature because I haven't cleaned this yet, but I've got all the fuel lines set up. So, and this main fuel inlet definitely takes the standard lawn tractor fuel line, so that's good. So I'll just run with that. Here's those vents. This is the primer, and we got lots of line on that, so we'll definitely cut that when we need to. So, all right, let's do the other one. It's so cold in the shed, what we're doing is just using the heat gun to get all these off, and then the heat gun to get them back on, the new ones on. So not much to see here, so I'll just finish this up. It's on there pretty good. There we go. Wow, not bad. I was expecting it to be all gummed up. Doesn't look like the needle's moving up and down, but not bad. All right, got the needle out. Has a little clip that kind of holds it in place. That came out too. This, where the needle sits, that can take in, what is that, an 8? It's actually a 9mm. Take that off with a 9mm socket. I'll get that out. And then this emulsion tube, that takes a 6. I kind of imagine something in there might come out too, but gotta look into it. All right, I just ran a little torch tip cleaner through that hole there and the seat, and everything is perfectly clear. And this carb looks great. So I put everything back together. So this is dusty in here at the bottom of the bowl. These floats look great. No problems there. Just going to clean that out with some carb spray. Just get a paper towel. It's kind of like a bowl drain, or like a sediment drain. Kind of nice, but I'll just clean the bottom of that out with a paper towel. Let's get this adjustment screw out. It was 2 turns out, but yeah, it looks pretty dirty. And there's a spring with it. Alright, so we'll make sure we put it back in all the way gently, and then we'll back it out 2 spins. Well, the carbs are cleaned and reinstalled, and I'm not filming every step of the process because I have no idea what I'm doing. Alright, we're going to try to fire up the engine here. I added some fuel into the gas tank. I have plenty of oil in the oil reservoir. I do not have any coolant. Doesn't look like it, at least, so won't run it long if it runs. The primer is not working. I'm sure that will need to be replaced. I'll pump that 100 times. It didn't do anything. Yeah. Let's do a little squirt of starting fluid and see if we can't get this to run and stay running. All right. Well, I thought I was going to stay running there for a minute. That was great. Let's try that again. Alright, just cleaned the spark plugs. They were definitely fouled. And, you know, instead of pulling and pulling on this thing, that's what you got to do, is you just got to make sure everything's perfect before you even start to try to start this engine. Wow. Well, it doesn't seem like it's getting fuel yet. I bet that fuel pump's bad. Well, we can keep trying. I took the primer line off just so I could hit it like this. Seems to work pretty good. Yeah, I bet it's not getting any fuel. I just popped the fuel line off that goes to the carb inlet, and it's dry as a bone, so no fuel is getting picked up yet. I mean, I could check to see if there's like a fuel shutoff somewhere, but I just have a feeling that fuel pump, which sits right beneath these two carbs, I bet that's all dried up and it's not working. Well, I found this switch. This is a fuel shutoff. I undid this line because I wanted to see if I can draw up some fuel, as nasty as that sounds. But this is what I discovered in here. Let's see if I can show you guys. So this goes into the wall of the machine, and it's a grommet with a line. I don't know why the fuel isn't just dumping out of here, but yeah, that fuel grommet is all dry rotted and messed up. All right, so I guess we got to start there for parts, and then we'll be able to diagnose if that fuel pump doesn't work or not. Well, it's March 1st now. It's been probably a week and a half since I was over here on the Skidoo, but we're back and we have some parts. Had a long time waiting on the parts that I needed, but just to show you again what we're after here. Here is the hole in the gas tank, and what we needed was a grommet. So I just tested it to make sure that it did fit. This package came with 2 grommets, which is always good in case something happens to the first, but this fits in there. This is sort of the nozzle or adapter or connector that the long part here will go into the gas tank. There probably should be a fuel line that goes on here and dips down deeper into the bottom of the fuel tank, but there wasn't one. I don't know, we'll see about that. And then this side takes fuel line. Now the fuel line is here. I got this from Napa. Let me just walk you over to the other side though. Here's a fuel shutoff, and the line that was going from the tank to the inside of the fuel shutoff, it's a very short hose. I took that off because it was cracked. You know, I had the little nipple there that goes to the grommet, you know, that was all messed up. So I took it off and measured it and could not find what kind of fuel line it was. Turns out it was 3/8 inside diameter, and this is what 3/8 inside diameter looks like. It's way bigger than your 1/4 inch regular fuel line. So then I thought, you know, maybe it's 5/16 because that's kind of a common size too. That's a little bigger. Nope, it wasn't that. This, what I got from Napa, comes, basically this is for a carbureted vehicle. This is fuel line for a carbureted car, and that's the size that is here. Now that, you know, so that runs out of the tank with 3/8 into this fuel shutoff. Then you have more 3/8 fuel line that goes down to a fuel pump. I think from there it switches over to 1/4 inch inside diameter. I'm not really sure why they're bothering with such a wide fuel line. That was kind of complicated. I figured that might help somebody. Anyway, I have everything I believe I need to, I'm not going to say make this thing run, let's just say get to the next phase, which might be, you know, seeing if the fuel pump works. That's basically what I want to get to, is try to get this thing to run some more off of its own gas. And, you know, I'd imagine it's probably going to need a new fuel pump. I just didn't want to go ahead and spring for the new fuel pump without at least testing it. So let's get to some more testing here. So this is what I came up with for a fuel pickup. Just a little bit of this 3/8 line. This is the nozzle. Here's the grommet is on there. So that's just going to go into the hole of the gas tank, slip in like that, and then I don't know if you can see it, but this line here will connect to the end like that. So let's see how that turns out. All right, several days later, and I'm gonna replace this thing. The primer just doesn't do anything, and I never even took it apart. The replacement was so cheap, so I just went with that. It even came with some fuel line. I also lost the nut to the old one, so that was part of it too. So I really wanted to try this first before I go and think that it's a bad fuel pump, because I just think that fuel pump's going to need to get primed a bit, and I couldn't do it with a busted primer. And this thing is just so brutal to pull over that I didn't want to bother keep pulling and pulling and pulling to try to prime that fuel pump. I wanted to do it with the primer, save my arm. So that's why I went with this. Okay, so I wanted to hook up the lines before I attach it to the snowmobile. This is the inlet, and this is the output here. This one is kind of coming out as on an angle, and it hooks into the main fuel line down there, and then this hose runs to the carburetors right here. And so if I prime this, I don't know if you can see it, but you can probably see some bubbles right there. So it's priming great. So I'm going to take these off, install it in the dash up here, and then reattach the lines. We'll tighten it down first, then we'll reattach the lines. Okay, we are good and primed. Let's see what happens. Maybe it's flooded a bit. Nope, it's good. It's running.
I need safety goggles.
All right. Well, I think it was running off its own fuel. I don't know. I did prime it a bunch, so that could have just been the primer. But you could tell this thing's a runner. All right, we got to do that again. Let's give it a few more primes. Let's see if it starts up again. Tell you what, it's getting a little easier to pull though.
It's like I'm swimming through floating water. It's like a bubble.
Well, I didn't get it to move at all. I thought it might move. I don't know if it's like not in gear or something, but all right, I gotta get the little one out of here. I want to see if the clutch moves here, so I'm going to film from this angle. doesn't seem like it's picking up fuel. That's just running off of the prime. And I can see the clutch trying to move, but it seems like it's seized. So either that or I just really need to rev it. I'm not sure yet. It might have just started working here. Oh. For a minute there, it seemed like I was running off its fuel, not just the primer. Let's do that one more time. Seems like even just one prime goes a long way. I don't know, that might be running off of fuel. That was a long time for just one primer pump. So a couple days later, and here's where we're at. Here's the fuel pump. I got it loose already. Got to get the hoses off of it, but here's that big 3/8 inside diameter fuel line going into the fuel pump. Then you get a vacuum line here, and then you have two fuel lines coming out that feed both carburetors. So it's a vacuum pump. It's kind of gross down here. I don't know what's going on, but I'm gonna try to swap it out for a new one. So let's see. Here's my new one. The capped ones are all fuel and then vacuum. So let's try to get that installed and see if we can't get this thing to run consistently. Well, here's the old one out. It got really disgusting in there. Fuel is definitely flowing out of this line. I had to shut off the fuel, but I'm gonna just switch it on for you just to show you that fuel flows. Well, of course it's gonna make a liar out of me now. But yeah, we had lots of fuel in there. Maybe it was old fuel. But I mean, I'm getting fuel when I prime, so it's definitely it's picking up from that line. That line goes here, so yeah, that should be working fine. Okay, we're all put back together here. Shiny new fuel pump down there underneath those carburetors. Everything's hooked back up, so let's give it a prime or two and see if this thing runs. Slowly moving fuel. I don't know why, but oh, it's moving. know. Is that running on its own fuel? I can't really tell. Seems like it wants to. Try to turn the idle up just a little bit. I mean, this is running, right? Nope. Nope, didn't want to take throttle, but it sat there and ran for a while. That's pretty cool. It's idling at like 1500, 1600. It bogs a little bit. That's safe, right? Oh, check it out. Some really terrible sounds. So I'm super impressed. I mean, this thing's idling just fine, sitting there at like 15, 1600. Tracks, see, the tracks seem like they're good. Some of these rollers on this side seem really noisy. You know, these need to be replaced. Got the rubbers falling. the light doesn't come on, but this is your thumb. Your throttle has a heater on it, and the light should come on there, but it doesn't. And this thing gets real hot. So the light doesn't seem to work, but I did at one time see this light turn on when you flip this, but now I don't see that anymore. So I'll look into the lights here, because the tail light doesn't work either. Believe it or not, it is now August 12th, 2024. It's been a little while, but for you, it's just a second ago. But I wanted to update you throughout the year as we're getting ready, eventually, to put this thing to the test and ride it around in some snow. Where are we at? I'd love to say that it, fired right up today. I hadn't touched it in months, but I actually couldn't get it started. The cheapo primer that I put in, that's busted already. So I got, of course, another one on the way. But I had to clean the carbs and put in new-ish spark plugs. And now the thing runs great. Actually, it probably runs better than ever. Let me show you. It's starting first pull right now, and it's idling real nice. Yeah, so I'm super happy about that. All right, I think it's finally time to start getting into these rollers here. I got to figure out how to do this. I have no idea how to do it, and love to replace every single one of those before we bring it up to our Adirondack property. Before you know it, there will be snow on the ground, especially up there, so I think now is the time. Let's see if we can't figure it out. Potentially this is the right starting place to slacken the tension on this back axle. So this should, give me a lot more slack on the track, I suppose, but I'm gonna do that on both sides and we'll see where it gets me. Starting to move. Got the bulb taken out, but apparently these idlers like to seize. But it is moving.
Yeah.
There it is.
Yay! Daddy got it off. Daddy got it off.
Thanks, cameraman. All right, so yeah, you can see why this idler needs to be replaced. Because a lot of these are not easy to get, I don't think I'm gonna do them all. I think I'm just gonna work on the ones that really need it. This one, this back one. That might be it. So we'll see how far I get.
So, is it coming off?
That one, the washer, goes on that side, just to remind myself. Oh, nice. Okay.
That was easy.
That bracket's broken.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'll get you a close-up.
See how that broke?
Yeah.
See if we can find a bracket too. Huh.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
My little helper. Guess what? We got this one off.
Yeah.
So it took some light tapping with a little angle iron. I got a long piece here and a hammer, and I just drove it from the other side, knocked it loose.
Oh.
I punctured a little hole in that thin piece of aluminum, I guess it is, cast aluminum, not sure, but we're replacing all of that anyhow. So I believe those are the three, at least the three that I can tell that are missing the rubber on the idlers. So I'm not gonna try not to go too crazy here and do them all, because I think it's just, you know, we're just gonna be looking for trouble. So good enough for what we're doing, right? I mean, I probably could just run it the way it was.
Yeah.
I bet it would go. You say yeah?
Yeah.
You have faith in us, huh? Pretty good. All right, but obviously I'll be a lot happier. Plus, who knows really like how bad these bearings are. I'm sure a lot of these are pretty poor, so at least we'll get a couple good ones. I'm excited because all the parts have arrived. We potentially have everything we need here to finish up the snowmobile. So these two idlers I was able to get from a place just a couple miles away. And then this is the big one that goes to like the bogie wheels in the back. And this was really hard to find because they don't make the OEM one anymore, and I can't even find any aftermarket replacements for that one. So I had to just get the measurement from this. So, you know, when you look up the parts diagram of this particular snowmobile, you will find this part and you will find a number and some dimensions. This is a 165 millimeter wheel, and when I called a local shop, they said, yeah, we have a 165, but it ended up having the wrong size bearing. So you have to make sure that the bearing is correct. I was able to find, you know, the type of bearing that is in here, and then when I was looking on eBay, I was looking for a 165, but then I was doing some zooming in on the pictures and checking the bearing number to make sure that I was going to be ordering the right bearing as well as the right millimeter wheel. So that was super complicated, but in the end, check out actually how close these are. This is obviously plastic, this is like the cast aluminum, but yeah, we got the right part here for sure. So what is this? I don't think it's going to help anyone. It's got a couple numbers on it. It says old number 04016520, OEM part 4080022-20. You know, that OEM number is not the same number that's on the parts diagram. This like comes, this is a part for a different machine, you know, but it's working. These are, I don't even know, we just went to the shop and sized them up. So you know, they're 135 millimeter wheels, part number 503191029. I don't know if any of that's going to be helpful to you guys, but just wanted to say it on camera, just in case. So this part came in two. Not sure the part number, might have to look up that for you later, but this is to replace the cracked bracket from this idler. And that goes together like that, and now that will fit on the machine with the bolt and the washer. And this one, the bracket is not cracked, so I didn't need to replace it. And then hopefully this one goes back in with no issues either. We will find out. Let's go try to install all this stuff. Oh wait, yes, I have some other things. Our primer that arrived, second one, because I did that once already in the video, but we're doing it again because the other one broke. And then we have some nice NGK spark plugs, and when I replaced the spark plugs that were in the engine, with some cleaner ones, it ran a lot better. So I said, yeah, I might as well buy some spark plugs and have 2 as backup. So that's what we're doing there. Today's August 19th, and just yesterday we had about 10 inches of rain come down in 4 or 5 hours. It was pretty incredible. There's a town near us that is along the river and is flooding terribly. They're inspecting the dam now, I think, because it's not looking good. So yeah, the conditions are pretty gross around here. The creek has fared pretty well. The water moves through it pretty quick, so I guess we're lucky. No real flooding, just a lot of mess. So yeah, all right, what are we doing back here? I think we're gonna start with the bogie wheel. This seems like the most simple setup. It just has this bolt going in like that. So that's really it. So I'm going to start with the simple one. Let's do that. The next one would be the idler that has the original bracket. So I believe this is like a 1/2 inch bolt and there's a 1/2 inch nut on the other side. So I just have to take that off, slip that on, and that should be all we need to do there. And then this side I'm going to have to install the bracket first. You can see the outline of where the bracket was. And once I get the bracket on, then I can do the idler. So this is a 9/16, by the way, not 1/2 inch. That goes in. Really don't need that to go in first. We just need to get this on the bracket. Might need 2 hands. Sure, I'm blocking your view. Okay, that's on. Bolt goes in. Then you have a big, thick washer. And then a locking nut. We'll put a 13mm wrench on the nut, but the bolt is 9/16. Try to get you in for a better look. Hopefully all these bolt holes line up. Yeah, seems like it does. Yeah, good. Okay, that bracket is installed. Now we'll just mount the wheel. Okay guys, those are the 3 that I want to replace. I also installed the new primer, but we had already done that, so I didn't decide to film it. Of course, I got it running off camera, but you've seen this thing start up plenty. The whole inside of this thing was soaking wet. But yeah, I took off the airbox cover and then it basically started first pull. I don't know what that was all about. Well guys, it's been months and months to get it to this point. I'm pumped up about where this sled is right now. So a few things I did off camera. I did tighten down the tensioners that go to the bogie axle in the rear, so that's all set. Don't worry about that. Obviously you saw me put in the spark plugs, and I have the 2 extra attached plus the 2 old ones that are still okay. So we have some backup plugs, which is good. Another thing I want to do between now and snow time is add coolant. I haven't done anything with coolant in this. I really don't even know where the coolant level is at. I'm not too worried about it because I haven't really run this thing much more than a minute. And I think maybe the next time you're gonna see me with the sled is when there's snow on the ground, unless something else happens to this thing. But hopefully the next clip is snow on the ground and me loading this sled onto my trailer and heading up to the Adirondacks to ride this thing around. So let's fast forward a couple months here and let's ride this thing. Well, it's November 7th, 2024, and I think I'm gonna load this thing up to take it up to our New York property. We're going up there this weekend, and not that there's gonna be snow, but I think it's just gonna be a decent time to bring this up. You know, hopefully the next time I'm up there, there'll be snow, and I'd like for this thing to already be there. Yeah, there's another one in the background here. Wasn't quite sure how I was going to work this one in the video, but there it was in the back. I traded this for one of the tractors, my Cub Cadet, the one with the transmission issues that I swapped the trans in. I traded that for a snowmobile that needs some work. So this thing does run and move, but it needs a not the muffler, the tune pipe, which is a big deal because it really shouldn't run without that tune pipe. So I got to find one of those. Yeah. But anyway, this thing starts up. Let me fire it up, and then we got to talk about what trailer it's going to go on. So I got my trailers here. This is a snowmobile trailer that, you know, basically converted to just be a flatbed regular trailer, but it is a snowmobile trailer. The last time I had this snowmobile on a trailer, we used this one. It's a little too short. The skis kind of rest here, and they go over the bar. I'm half thinking of taking this one again though, because it's really the better of the trailers. At this point, I've done a lot of work to it, including like all new hubs and bearings and stuff, and those tires are new, and whatever. It's an easier trailer with the ramp. This thing, those tires are still pretty new, but like nothing else is new on it besides the wood, and you know, when I restored it, I don't know, 3 years ago. This one would be, I guess I trust this one less than I trust this one, is really the point. And when you're driving 4.5 hours, how you trust your trailer is pretty important. So I don't know, I gotta weigh all that, but yeah, let's fire this thing up because it's been a little while. So we're just gonna give it a couple of nice easy pumps. Last time I blew that thing out because I think I pumped it too hard and blew the seal, but oh, might need 2 hands. Flooded. think I just flooded it. So remind me, just like one primer. And one of the other reasons why I wanted to use this trailer is it has the built-in ramp. You know, I know this other one is a tilt trailer. I can undo the little latch, it can tilt, but I can tell this thing's been damaged by slamming back down. The tongue is almost bent. You know, I don't really want to do more damage on it. This, I think I might be able to manage on my own. I'm thinking about firing it up and trying to scoop myself up on the trailer a little bit, and then, you know, I'm gonna try to get my brother over here to help me pick up the skis and get them on the top of the bar in the front. So that's sort of the idea. That's awesome. That's the most this sled has moved in this entire video. Thank you guys for being so patient. We got the studded tracks there, really digging into things. Oh yeah. Scraping up the trailer. Throwing lots of rocks. Glad we didn't shatter any taillights over here or mirrors on this thing. Well, that was actually really fun for me because you haven't seen it move. I haven't moved it. You know, there was one time where this thing took off on me a little bit and it moved a couple feet, and I hit the kill switch as quick as I could. And yeah, that's the furthest this thing has went. It was, you know, obviously right here. Before that, it was here. So yeah, big success, right? All right, well, I'm gonna get this thing strapped down, get my brother's help to pull these up so it's a little further, you know, sitting up here so I can shut the ramps on this, and I'll strap it down, take this thing up to New York tomorrow night, and we'll be spending the weekend up there. It's Veterans Day weekend. I have Monday off. I don't think I'm staying up all the way till Monday, but anyway, got a nice long weekend. And yeah, hopefully soon there'll be snow up there, and we'll finish this video off with a nice little romp around our New York property. Okay, and I'm heading up to the Adirondacks by myself. It's about a 4.5 hour drive, depending on if I stop, and we got the Formula SS 600 in tow here. See if I showed you how I got it up here. Yeah, I like this setup. I trust this trailer a lot more than the other one, so let's hit the road and meet the boys up there.
That's a cartoon accident waiting to happen.
Rattled on the tongue. All right. Studded track, so you got to lift this. I mean, we should have known that was going to happen.
Yeah. No reverse, right?
There is, but I've never engaged it, and I'm afraid I'm going to break it because it doesn't feel. Oh, there you go. Oh, maybe it does feel good.
What do you want to do?
I would rather pull it off.
Okay.
Sure. And then we'll move the trailer.
to move it so he can drive it out. So it's trying to back it.
Two-stroke. Well, just be careful because it will take off. There we go.
What is that?
Primer. Okay. No.
Hard to steer like that. It's gotta be the best.
She runs. See if the idle comes down. It doesn't normally idle that high. Can always adjust it.
What's that burning off?
Well, it's two-stroke.
Yeah.
It was a little flooded too. We'll see how smoky it stays. Wow. Well, it's a couple months later, but you can see there's some snow on the ground. Hold on, we have a visitor coming down. You guys wanted to see a running snowmobile. That's not the one we're working on. I told you I acquired one that actually works. So anyway, we're back here. I think the last thing that was said was Cody said that's not normal, and Cody was right.
Hey Joe.
Hey, can't wait to get this thing running like that.
Yeah, thanks fast.
So what happened was there was water in the gas tank of this thing, and you know, we've been working on this thing for almost a year, and it's basically sat very still. And the moment I brought it up here to New York, that water sloshed around, and it started smoking real bad. It was hard to start, and As I looked at the gas after we did ride it around for just, you know, a quick second in the field, we noticed that there was a lot of water in the tank. So I attempted to drain some of it with a little siphon, and that sort of worked, but I'm a little more prepared now, and I have some stuff here. So I have this guy, which is a battery powered like fuel transfer pump. We're gonna get the rest of that crummy gas out of there. We're probably gonna tip this thing on its side. There's probably ice chunks at this point in the tank, and from what I read, people tip these over on their side, they tip the nose up, they do all sorts of stuff. But we're it should be relatively easy, I hope, to get the ice chunks out of there, because like I said, everything's frozen. All right, so we got this. Yeah, I bought this. Is like $70. It's like a halfway decent one. Got that on Amazon. Battery powered. And don't mind me, but we're just gonna dump this out. See how gross this fuel is.
Oh, that's really bad. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay, a little bit came out. So we got it best we can. You know, so far I can't see anything in there. So I think what we're gonna
fill it up with gas.
Yeah, I think we're just gonna fill it up with gas and then dilute it. Jesse says the solution to pollution is dilution. So
that's what we're gonna do.
So we got some gas. That's just straight gas, don't worry. We'll fill it up pretty good, and hope that you know, dilutes some things, and hopefully this thing will run. Yep.
Yep.
Yeah. Hard to tell. Nice. Not picking up fuel yet.
Well, it's not moving yet.
Yeah. You want to manage the throttle for me?
Full.
Fuel lines might be clogged, frozen with water. Okay, so what I feel here is this fuel line is rock solid. I think it's filled with water and it's frozen. This one feels a little squishy. So I think maybe to this carburetor we might be getting some fuel. This one, no. So we're gonna take the carbs off and Try to see if we can get that free. Sounds like it's idling a bit. Joe, did you just get it? He just gunned it. Want to see if you ripping my seat? Probably ripped my seat, didn't you? Oh, it won't throttle up. Let it idle. Just let it idle. Yeah. We're gonna let it just sit. Just let it sit. Yeah, I think one side is free. The other carb isn't free yet. Just give me space for my. Yeah. Oh yeah. Nearly 1 year in the making right there. Oh man, I'm excited. Don't forget, this is part Jesse's too. It handles these bumps really well. It's surprisingly smooth.
It's not tipsy like
you. No, it's not as tippy.
Yeah.
I think it's got full power. Well, we can't forget that we have two now. This one's got an electric start. Well, we got it up top, so that's a big success right there. So we, you know, for a couple months there, this thing had to sit kind of exposed way down at the bottom of the driveway. Not the most secure location. Last step with this thing is reverse seems to be either stripped out or just not engaging right. So that's a little too bad, but that might bounce back, I don't know. But for the most part, guys, I think this video can come to an end right here. Mission accomplished. Obviously that's not too much footage of me riding around on this thing, but if you do want to see more of this, I'd say tune in to the channel Kyle by the Lake. That's my alternate channel. And anything up at this cabin in our New York property, I film stuff, and you know, we're doing eventually we're going to be building. This is like a little micro shed, tiny home, whatever you want to call it, but down below we're going to build some cabins eventually. Right now we're just having fun with our kind of like off-grid camping, kind of bug out style, and got lots of machines up here now. And for the most part, everything's running. Yeah, thanks for watching this snowmobile video. This thing was a lot of fun. I had never worked on a snowmobile before this, so maybe that can inspire some people to go out and buy a non-running snowmobile and get it back in order. Well, thanks everyone for watching. My name is Kyle. The channel's called Kyle by the Creek. Please like the video, share, leave a comment, and most importantly, subscribe to the channel. Thanks guys, we'll catch you on the next one.